Stop the music. Good morning and good afternoon, all. Welcome to this week's episode of Faith, Lies, and Confusion. Last week's episode was canceled due to the fact that I was in a friend of mine's wedding, but we're back this week with new topics and heat for everyone. This episode is titled King James, a deep dive into the life of King James. As you probably already know, I'm your host, Godless Reggie. We have the beautiful Afro Atheist here to add her expert input. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Just a little hot today. We also have the vessel of dishonor, excuse me, the anonymous vessel of dishonor with us to spread some knowledge. and we,
Hello,
how are you?
I'm cool. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. And we may have my friend in disbelief, Tia, stop by to add a little bit as well. Um, how's everyone doing on this beautiful day of the Lord this Sunday?
Well, I'm not. I'm away in Scotland,
Okay.
and I'm oh,
Are you enjoying your trip?
so far so good. Yes, it's been good.
That's good.
Really good.
What's up with you, Vessel?
Nothing much really. Just chilling at home.
Okay. Same here. Same here. Probably watch a little bit of American football the next hour or so before we get to godless dating. Let's get right into it about King James and his life. Give me
Okay.
1 second. Early life. Tell me if y'all can see it or should I make it bigger or what?
Bigger, please.
Is that cool? Hold on,
Okay.
let me look at it. I think I done pulled up the wrong one. Yeah, I did too. Give
I know
me a
that you're
second.
reading. I think that you're reading to us. Oh,
Bigger or smaller? Or is just right?
yeah, that looks right. Hold on a second. Can I link this to my?
Okay.
I don't know what I did.
Are you talking about your audiences?
Yes.
Yeah, you still can.
Okay.
I think you just have to adjust the time and make it past what time
Okay.
it is now. King James the First of England and the Sixth of Scotland had a remarkable life that significantly impacted British history. Here's an overview of his life. He was born June 19th, 1566 in Edinburgh Castle, Scotland. His mother was Mary, Queen of the Scots, and his father was Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley. Both were descendants of Henry VII of England, giving James a strong claim to the English throne. So he was an inbred. Ascension to the Scottish throne. James became king. James became King James VI of Scotland in 1567 when he was just 1 year old after his mother was forced to abdicate. He was raised under a series of regiments until he took control of the government in 1581. I didn't know he was the king when he was 1 year old. Um, his reign in Scotland, his education, James received a thorough education, was considered one of the most scholarly kings of his time. He was fluent in multiple languages and authored several books, including works on theology, witchcraft, and kingship. Religious challenges. His reign in Scotland was marked by conflicts with the Presbyterian Church, which resisted his attempts to assert royal authority over religious matters. His ascension to the English throne, the union of the crowns. On March 24th, 1603, James succeeded Queen Elizabeth I and became James I of England, uniting the crowns of England and Scots. This was a significant moment in British history, leading to closer ties between the two kingdoms. Cultural and political achievements. James' reign saw the flourishing of arts, particularly the work of William Shakespeare. He also commissioned the King James Bible, a landmark in English literature. I think that pretty much that's what it's about. When it comes to King James, in my opinion, I know him for being the author of the Bible. I wasn't aware until maybe about 5 years ago that he actually was the King of England. I wasn't aware he was the King of Scotland until yesterday as well. With you two being from the UK, what all do you know about him as far as the monarch?
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Oh, okay. I don't know what that was about. Um, okay, so him being king, of course, he would not be called King James if he wasn't king, right? He was
Right,
definitely king. But then I think there was a time when he became king of both kingdoms, right?
right.
There was a merging of both kingdoms. But his mother had to abdicate. His mom had to abdicate her role. And because there's something about abdicating. The only time that you abdicate is if you're unfit, unwell, and unable to do it. So I'm not sure why she abdicated, but she did.
I've heard.
And
Go ahead.
go on, go on.
I've heard mixed stories about her. I've heard
Mm.
rumors that he actually unalived her. I don't know if that's true or not.
No, it wasn't her. It wasn't him. It was Queen Elizabeth the First, not him. It was Queen Elizabeth the First who unalived the mother of King James. I will have a look. I will have a look at who exactly did. No, it wasn't him. It wasn't him. It was Queen Elizabeth the First. But yeah, I'm you said something which I think might be false. You said he authored the Bible. He didn't author the Bible. He he had his own translation of the Bible, which is the King James version, but he didn't author the Bible.
Yeah, I don't think that he personally wrote it. He couldn't have because the time frames don't match up.
Right.
I think what the article is stating is what you're stating, that he just authored his own. Like, okay, it's
Right.
mine. My name's on the shit. You know what I mean? I don't think
Yeah.
that he actually had the brain to write that whole book.
He
There's
didn't
no way.
do he didn't do shit. He didn't do none of the work.
Yeah, I don't think
It
he did.
was other people who did it. He just put his name and stamp on because of course he was the king at the time. He gave the approval. And so I bet he never read the book one day in his life, didn't know exactly what was written in. I bet he had no knowledge of nothing. Right? I bet he just, okay, yeah, you've done it. Yeah, bring it along. Stamp. You know.
I could see how he involved himself. I mean, obviously he's the king, but I wasn't aware that he knew so many different languages. I give him credit on that. I, I do know that he wrote a book of demonology, though.
I,
I think that's what he did.
yeah, I was just thinking out loud, but then I'll say it. I heard that he took some books out of the Bible as well.
I've heard that too. Because I think he took ones from the Ethiopian Bible and subtracted some of them from that and made the King James version. But we'll read the rest of it though, see what it says. Okay. Where was that? The ascension to the English throne. I read that. Culture and political advancements. James' reign saw the flourishing of arts, particularly the work of William Shakespeare. I read that. He also commissioned, I think that William Shakespeare is actually part of the authors of that Bible, but that's another story. He also commissioned the King James Bible, a landmark in English literature. I read that. His reign in England, political challenges. James faced significant political challenges in England, including conflicts with Parliament over issues such as taxation and royal prerogative. His belief in the divine right of kings often put him at odds with the Parliament. The Gunpowder Plot. In 1605, a group of Catholic conspirators, including Guy Fawkes, attempted to assassinate James by blowing up the House of Parliament. The plot was full, and the event is still commemorated annually in the UK as Guy Fawkes Nights. Foreign policy. James sought to avoid wars and pursue a policy of peace. Though his attempts to secure a marriage alliance with Spain were unpopular and ultimately unsuccessful, his personal life and his death. James' personal life was marked by his close relationship with male conquerors, which led to rumors and controversies. His marriage to Anne of Denmark produced several children, including his successor, Charles I. James died. Well, James I died on March 27th, 1625, at the age of 58. He was succeeded by his son Charles I, whose reign would eventually lead to civil war and temporarily overthrowing the monarchy. Also, I just wanted to state that King James' name is not really James. I'm pretty sure it's Charles. I read that earlier. I think it's Charles James or some shit like that. Okay, what else? His legacy. Union of Crowns. Though James was not able to achieve a full political union of England and Scotland, his reign laid the groundwork for the eventual creation of Great Britain in 1707. The King James Bible remains one of the most significant translations of the Bible, influencing the English language and literature for centuries. King James' life was a blend of intellectual achievement, political struggle, and complexities of ruling two different kingdoms with distinct traditions and challenges. So a lot of that I really didn't know, especially about the Scotland part. I didn't know that he tried to make a marriage alliance with Spain. I have heard of stories like that before with other kings. I just was not aware of the fact that he did that. Is there anything else that y'all personally know that I haven't stated about him? Can y'all hear me? Okay, because I can't hear y'all.
I muted myself. I don't know why that's happening. I muted myself.
I think it's Vessel's connection. Okay, I want to talk about his rule in Scotland because I didn't know anything about that. Give me 1 second. I wish I knew how hot it was. Oh my goodness, I am melting over here. And that fan ain't doing nothing. Too big, too small? What?
Too small.
Okay. King James rule in Scotland. Lennox was a Protestant convert, but was distrusted by Scottish Calvinists who noticed the physical displays of affection towards him, and the king alleged that Lennox went about to draw the king to carnal lust. In August 1582, in what became known as the Ruthven Raid, the Protestants Earl William Ruthven, Earl of Gowrie, and Archibald Douglas, Earl of Angus, lured James into Ruthven Castle, imprisoned him, and forced Lennox to leave Scotland. On September 19, 1582, during James' imprisonment, John Craig, whom the king had personally appointed royal chaplain in 1579, rebuked him and sharply from the pulpit for having issued a proclamation so offensive to the clergy that the king wept. After James escaped from Falkland on June 27th, 1583, he assumed increasingly control of his kingdom. I didn't know he was incarcerated ever. He pushed through the Black Acts to assert royal authority over the Kirk and announced the writings of his former tutor, Buchanan. Between 1584 and 1603, he established effective royal government and relative peace among the lords, ably assisted by John Maitland of Charleston, who led the government until 1598. An 8-man commission known as the Octavans brought some control of the ruinous state of James' finances in 1596, but it drew opposition from vested interests. It was disbanded within a year after a riot in Edinburgh, which was stoked by anti-Catholicism and led to court withdrawal and Lithgow temporary. I'm going to skip through some of this because this is a lot to read. In 1586, James signed the Treaty of Berwick with England that his mother's execution in 1587, which he denounced as a preposterous and strange procedure, helped clear the way for his succession south of the border. Queen Elizabeth was unmarried and childless, and James was her most likely successor. Securing the English succession became a cornerstone of his policy. During the Spanish Armada crisis in 1588, he assured Elizabeth of his support as your natural son and compatriot of your country. Elizabeth sent James an annual subsidy from 1586, which he gave her some leverage over her affairs in Scotland. His marriage, I think I spoke on that. Well, throughout his youth, James was praised. Now, this is the controversial part that everyone says about King James. Throughout his youth, James was praised for his chastity, since he showed little interest in women, which I knew. After the loss of Lennox, he continued to prefer male company. A suitable marriage, however, was necessary to reinforce his rule, and the choice fell on 14-year-old Anne of Denmark, younger daughter of Protestant Danish King Frederick II. Shortly after a proxy marriage in Copenhagen in 1589, Anne sailed for Scotland but was forced by storms to the coast of Norway. On hearing that the crossing had been abandoned, James sailed from Leith with a 300-strong retinue to fetch Anne personally, in what historian David Harris called the one romantic episode of his life. He should have said the one heterosexual moment of his life. The couple were married formally at the Bishop's Palace in Oslo on November 23rd. James received a dowry of 75,000 Danish dollars and a gift of $10,000 from his mother-in-law, Sophie of Meltenberg Distro. After stays at Elsinore and Copenhagen and meeting with, these people got some strange names, Tycho Brahe, James and Anne returned to Scotland on May 1st, 1590. By all accounts, James was infatuated. By all accounts, James was at first infatuated with Anne, and in the early years of their marriage seems always to have shown her patience and affection. The royal couple produced 3 children who survived to adulthood: Henry Frederick, Prince of Wales, who died of typhoid fever in 1612 at age 18; Elizabeth, later Queen of Bohemia; and Charles, James' successor. Anne suffered from recurrent bouts of sickness and was severely ill from 1617. James visited Anne only 3 times during her illness. She died before her husband in March 1619. What it sounds like from all of that is that he just married her because he kind of had to. I don't really think that he really liked women all like that, except for maybe his mom, maybe. Thank you, Dima and Jau White.
You know, you know something. That's Juad. Juad. Um, I don't know. Sometimes when you're reading all these things, to be honest with you, I don't know. Are we getting the full picture? Are we getting whose narrative is this? Because the thing with back in those days is there's a narrative that is put out there, and I bet if we could interview other people who were present, I'm sure we would get a completely different take on some of these things. And this is why I don't know, just reading some of the information, uh I don't know, it just sounds very like direct and to the point, and I'm thinking I wish we could be a fly on the wall in some
Hmm.
of those
Hmm.
conversations in those where the kings and queens used to sit and have where they make their decisions and stuff, right?
Hmm.
I guess we will get the full picture, but it's unfortunate we can't get that. But I wish that was the case. I'm sure we would know a whole lot more about what really was going on.
I wish I knew too.
Mm.
How you feel, Vessel? You still here, Vessel?
I want to say something, but I think I get cut off.
I don't know why that thing is making that noise.
Is it
I
me?
think you. I think you should log out and log back in.
Okay. Do you hear it when I'm muted?
No, we can't hear it while you're muted, but I think that you should log out and log back in.
All right, do that way.
I'm gonna remove you. Come back up.
Wait, let's see if it happens when I'm speaking. It's not happening now, right?
Mm-mm.
No, it's not happening. Okay.
Yes, I have heard that King James was involved with bestiality too. I don't know how true that is though. That's one of the situations like you were saying. I wish that
Mm.
this wasn't so long ago, so we could verify more of this information because a lot of it I'm not sure if I believe either. So let's see if we can get Vessel back in here. I just heard her. Let's see.
So what was the back in those days, what was people's perception of gay people? It wasn't favorable, I guess, because
No, I don't think it was favorable either, but from what I'm gathering from the information with him, you kind of can't stop him because of who he is. You got to think about. Listen, he's it's in his blood. I mean, not the gayness, obviously, but who he is, you can't really say nothing to him. I mean, I guess they did arrest him at one point, but he got out. So I think that it's kind of like when you read the Bible, where it's obvious that King David um, was involved in some things like that. I think that he was so much of God's favorite, or I think that in this case, King James was so much of the people's favorite that they overlooked a lot of it because of who
no,
he
no,
is.
I doubt it was the people's favorite. More like there were no other options.
That too.
More like there were no other options because yeah, I don't know if they would pick him. I don't
No,
know about
no,
that. Because
no, definitely.
this wasn't democratic at all. This was
No,
no democracy.
right. They definitely wouldn't have picked him based off of just his sexual preference. They wouldn't have picked him. But my point
Hmm.
is because of who he is, you can't
Right.
do shit. You can't do nothing.
Ish. Mm-mm-mm.
Let me hear you talk about. So let's see if your mic is still acting crazy.
You still here?
We can hear
We
you. It's
can hear
not.
you. It's not.
Oh, yes, it
Oh,
is.
yes, it
It's
is.
just as
It's just
bad.
as bad.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what it is. What I want controversial in the sense that if he didn't like women, um, is it possible that someone else fathered the children?
Possibly. I'm gonna read his personal relationships next. I think that I think he was one of those type guys that would fuck anything. I think that long as you had a hole, you were fair game. Because from me reading, his wife, she had a lot of miscarriages too. And for them to be not together all the time, him traveling all over places, her going traveling all places, maybe that's what maybe other people were impregnating her or something. Because number one, he probably didn't give a fuck because he had a dude on the side, which was his main anyway. So I don't know. He's a confusing individual. So his personal relationships throughout his life, James had close relationship with male conquerors, which has caused debate among historians about their exact nature. In Scotland, Anne Murray was known as the king's mistress, so he had chicks on the side too. After his accession in England, his peaceful and scholarly attitude contrasted strikingly with the I can't pronounce that word bellicose and flirtatious behavior of Elizabeth, as indicated by the contemporary epigram Rex Fut Elizabeth Nunc est Regina La Cabos. I can't pronounce it. Elizabeth was king. Now James is queen. I guess that's the translation. Some of James' biographers conclude that Esme Stewart, Duke of Lennox, Robert Carr, Earl of Somerset, and George Billers, Duke of Buckingham, were his lovers. The Duke of Buckingham, I certainly believe that. John or Oglander observed that he never yet saw any found husband make so much or so great diligence over his beautiful spouses. Oh, the alliance over his beautiful spouses, as I have seen King James over his favorites, especially the Duke of Buckingham, whom the king would recall Sir Edward Peyton tumble and kiss as a mistress. Restoration of Ap- Apethorpe Palace, Northamptonshire, undertaken in 2004 through 8, revealed a previously unknown passage linking the bedchambers of James and Villiers. Some biographers of James argued that the relationships were not sexual. James Basilcon de Ron lists sodomy among crimes. Ye are bound in conscience never to forgive. And James' wife Anne gave birth to 7 live children, as well as suffering 2 stillbirths and at least 3 other miscarriages. So he was tearing her ass up. Contemporary huge note poet Theophile de Vial observed that it is well known that the King of England, excuse me, it is well known that the King of England fucks the Duke of Buckingham. These are their words, not mine. Buckingham himself provides evidence that he slept in the same bed as the king, writing to James many years later that he have pondered whether you love me now better than at the time which I shall never forget at Farnham, where the bed's head could not be found between the master and his dog. Buckingham's words may be interpreted as non sexual in the context of 17th century court life and remain ambiguous despite their fineness. It is also possible that James was bisexual. He definitely, bare minimum, was bisexual. Definitely. How y'all feel?
I mean, not that description. Something about his bed being something about the head between the bed and the what the master and the dog. Hello. I mean, if you cannot read between the lines, we see exactly what's going on over there.
Hmm.
Exactly what's going on over there. And I can imagine that they played this off as, oh, he's just one of my favorite persons, when I'm with him, I can I can think and reason better. I can, do my duties as king. He helps me um learn new things. He's able to bring his expertise. I bring my expertise, and so we're going to need some privacy together and do things, but I can imagine. Honestly, I wish we could speak to the servants who were there, because servants, they know everything.
Oh yeah, they're the flies on the wall.
Servants, servants usually would know everything, right? And so, yeah, it's a shame they didn't go back and get words from the servants. It would have been interesting what they would have got. Mm.
The reason why I personally believe the uh the King James, I mean, excuse me, the Lord Buckingham story is, why the fuck would you build a whole palace for this man?
Mm.
Why would you do that?
Did he build any palaces for any women?
No, no, no.
I can imagine that that palace was built for um as their love nest.
Right. I'd be scared to go over there. Probably got chains hanging from the wall, swings, all kinds of things that go
Why?
up in your ass,
Why?
all kind of weird
Why?
shit.
Why would you be scared to go there? It's a love
It's a
nest.
long nest.
Two
Because you're
love birds.
because you're not
Because you're
fucking
not
with me.
fucking me.
That's why.
That's why.
No, Reggie, it's open. It's actually open to the public. You can just go and walk around and have a feel for the place.
I'm scared.
So where it's open to the public now. It's open to the public now. Once upon a time, it wasn't open to the public. Absolutely not.
I bet it's stinking that motherfucker too.
Now we won't stink, Reggie. They would have cleaned the whole place up. Come on.
I don't know. Them spirits.
Did you say spirits?
Yeah, I think I've been talking to Christians too long.
Not at least they're
At
not
least they're
at least
not.
they're
At
not
least they're not
Jews.
Jews.
Right. At least they're not gents. I agree. When the Earl of Salisbury died in 1612, he was little mourned by those who jostled to fill the power vacuum. This is weird. Until Salisbury's death, the Elizabethan administrative system over which he had presided continued to function with relative efficiency. From his time forward, however, James' government entered a period of decline and disrepute. Salisbury's passing gave James the notion of governing in person as his own minister of state, with his young Scottish favorite Robert Carr carrying out many of Salisbury's former duties. But James' inability to attend closely to official business exposed the government faction, factionalism. Hold on, let me read this. Okay. The Howard party, consisting of Henry Howard, Earl of Northampton, Thomas Howard, Earl of Suffolk, Suffolk's son-in-law William Knolly, Lord Knolly's, Charles Howard, Earl of Nottingham, and Thomas Lake, soon took control of much of the government and its patronage. Even the powerful Carr fell into the Howard camp, hardly experienced for the responsibilities thrust upon him and often dependent on his intimate friend, Thomas Overbury, for assistance with government papers. Carl had an adulterous affair with Frances Howard, Countess of Essex, daughter of the Earl of Suffolk. James assisted Frances by securing an annulment of her marriage to free her to marry Carr, now Earl of Somerset. In the summer of 1650, however, it emerged that Overbury had been poisoned. He had died on September 15, 1613, in the Tower of London, where he had been placed at the king's request. Among these convicted of murder were the Earl of Countess Somerset. The Earl had been replaced as the king's favorite in the meantime by Billers. James pardoned the Countess and commuted the Earl's sentence to death, eventually pardoning him in 1624. The implication of the king in such scandal provoked much public and literary conjecture, and irreparably tarnished James Court with the image of corruption and depravity. The subsequent downfall of Howard's left Villiers unchallenged as a supreme figure in the government by 1619. So it kind of sounds like they got mad because they knew his business and just took it and ran with it. I'm not sure. So his health and his death. In later years, James suffered increasingly from arthritis, gout, and kidney stones. How did they know that? He also lost his teeth and drank heavily. The king was often seriously ill during the last year of his life, leaving him an increasingly powerful figure, rarely able to visit London, while Buckingham consolidated his control of Charles to ensure his own future. One theory is that James suffered from por- porphyria, a disease of which his descendant George III exhibited some symptoms. James described his urine to his physician Theodore de Mayerne as being the dark red color of Alicante wine. He probably had cancer. The theory is diminished by some experts, particularly in James' case, because he had a kidney stone, which could lead to blood in the urine coloring it red. In 1625, James was plagued by severe attacks of arthritis, gout, and fainting fits, and fell severely ill in March with Tertanian ague, and then suffered a stroke. He died at Theobald's house in Hertfordshire on March 27th during a violent attack of dysentery, with Buckingham at his bedside. His boyfriend. James' funeral on May 7th was a magnificent but disorderly affair. Bishop John Williams of Lincoln preached the sermon observing King Solomon died in peace when he had lived about 6 years, and so did King James. The sermon was later printed as Great Britain's Solomon. James was buried in Westminster Abbey. The position of the tomb was lost for many years until his coffin was found in the Henry VII vault during the excavation of the 19th century. King James is gone. Did you know any of that, or did you have anything else to add to that, Afro?
Okay. So just something that I was reading, which pick my not that I didn't know this. I knew I had an idea, right? So let me just read it. So it says, given the perceived need for a new authorized translation, so there was a need for an authorized translation, right? There was a
Hmm.
need for it. So James was quick to appreciate the broader value of this proposal, right? And
Right.
at once he made the project his own. He was king, He was king. It was a no-brainer. It had to be his own, right? And so by June the 30th, 1604, James had approved a list of 54 revisers. Although the records show that 47 scholars actually participated. They were organized into 6 companies, 2 each working separately at Westminster, Oxford, and Cambridge on sections of the Bible assigned to them. So we have 47 scholars
Hmm.
that actively participated, organized into 6 companies, 2 each working separately at Westminster, Oxford, and Cambridge on different sections of the Bible that was assigned to them. Richard Bancroft, the Archbishop of Canterbury, served as overseer and established doctrinal conventions for the translators. So they would meet for conventions, right? Okay, so what are you doing with James? What are you doing with the book of Elijah? Well, we're putting it together with, like these people were having conventions over what they were doing with the Bible. And so the new Bible was published in 1611, right? But that is interesting. Um, before this was done, there were other translations. There were other translations which they felt was hold on one second. There's a word that they used. They felt that it was give me a second. Right, here we go. Right. So in 1604, soon after James' coronation as King of England, a conference of churchmen requested that the English Bible be revised because existing translations were corrupt and not answerable to the truth of the original. What original?
Right. There's no such thing as the original Bible. You stole from the Torah.
What original?
Hmm.
There's no such thing as an original.
That's what I
And
said
this
before.
this thing, Reggie, that is called the truth. What truth?
Right.
Truth according to who?
Right. You know what that sounds like? When we talk to people and they be like, "Well, you have these people. They're not real Christians. They're not pushing the real doctrine." Yes, they is. Just like you are. Y'all all the same. I don't care what version of it is. It's all bullshit. So
I found something about, okay, just take us back to the palace. Buckingham Palace was originally known as Buckingham House and was built in 1703 for the Duke of Buckingham. King George III then bought it in 1761. So then after that, that's when they started adding rooms to it. And now it's got 775 rooms, but it didn't start out the size that it is now.
I wonder how they knew all them damn people. Why would you build something that big? Who all gonna come over? Everybody in your whole family? I don't get it. So
And Reggie, this is God's word. This is what Reggie, I'm sorry, I'm gonna do this, but my Niger people, Niger Africans, Niger and African people, you hear them say that this is God's word. Do they know what this God's word, so-called God's word, has been through before it was brought to them? You Reggie, they read it as though it is God speaking. You hear people saying, God said in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, God said it.
he ain't say shit.
How did God say it? Eh? Who heard God say what? Before it finally got to you over there, this thing had gone through so many hands, had been translated and interpreted. Listen, if you don't see it, I mean, the Bible is a book with an agenda. It's a book of an agenda. From the beginning to the end, it has an agenda.
I agree.
And boy, did that agenda work. Look what it has done to our people, that book.
I think that it was used for several agendas because the agenda that he made it for That don't even got nothing to do with us. That got something to do with some European shit that don't got nothing to do with us, right? So that's one situation, right? Then they just saying, okay, well it worked right here. Okay, so we're gonna take it to these niggas over here because they gonna
Mm.
believe it. They don't even know English like that, so they definitely gonna believe that shit. And it's crazy because that's pretty
No,
much what they
no.
did,
Reggie, they didn't believe it at first. They didn't
right?
believe it. Do you know how many times these people had tried to colonize? They tried several times in several places, tried to infiltrate, but it just didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a systematic thing done over a long period of time,
Mm-hmm.
trying
Mm-hmm.
several tactics, using several methods of deceit and manipulation over a long period of time. So it's absolutely crazy. I'm reading a book right now, and it is I've got it here. It's the where is the book? Okay, so this is, sorry guys, I'm away on a short break, so I'm not at home. So this is the book of it is called, it's a very big book. It's the Oxford Illustrated History of Christianity, right? And it is very, very interesting. Um, let's see. Give me a minute. Let me just 1 second. It talks about the relationship between the slaves. Sorry. The Hey, turn that thing off. It talks about the relationship between the missionaries and the colonial masters. How both were working, alongside each other. On the one hand, some missionaries were conflicted. How
Mm-hmm.
are we spreading God's word? But then again, there's, if we don't go to these lands, if these lands are not colonized, how can we spread the word, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now they needed the king, whatever king was around about that time, had to give the go ahead. Yes, go ahead. Do this in my name. Whatever king or queen, they had the go ahead. And so but what's interesting is the way that systematically these people, the missionaries, they had to have a sense of entitlement, feeling that I'm talking about the good guys now, because people would like to separate the colonials from the missionaries. The missionaries had good intentions. But do you know what it feels like for you to come from your own place over to this other place where they don't have your God? You're so sure about what you have, about your God and what you, oh, let's go over there and go and give them out. They were very convinced. These people were convinced beyond doubt that they had the right God, the right version, the right everything. And so, no, even the good guys were in fact the bad guys.
Yes. What's the right word? I can't think of this called. They're complicit. Whether if you knew what they was doing or not, you're still at fault. You're the reason. You're the softener. Before they came, they sent you first. What I want everybody to do when you get some free time, right, is watch a movie called Emancipation. It has Will Smith in it. If you watch that movie, it will give you a clear idea how they got us to believe. And it was like this: do you believe? Pow! You didn't believe, people sitting there watching you, not listen or not, because what they would tell us was they would read the Bible when they would bring you here, right? And they would tell you, follow your master as you obey your master as you would obey God. Then they would have a whole bunch of sticks in the yard with skulls on it from people that tried to run and people that wouldn't believe in God. So in your mind, you're thinking like, well, all right, well, I'm gonna believe or I'm gonna get killed. And then when your kids see it, as time goes on and on and on and on and on, they'll believe it.
Isn't it strange how they say they make it seem like that's what will happen to Christians if they didn't get the mark of the beast? exactly that.
I've heard people call everything the mark of the beast: tattoos, social security numbers, anything. So where was I reading at? So I'm gonna go to his witch hunts. Okay, James visited Denmark. Well, James visited to Denmark, a country familiar with witch hunts, sparked an interest in the study of witchcraft, which he considered a branch of theology. He attended the North Berwick witch trials, the first major persecution of witches in Scotland under the Witchcraft Act in 1563. Several people were convicted of using witchcraft to send storms against James' ships, most notably Agnes Sampson. James became concerned with the threat posed by witches and wrote in Demonology in 1597, a tract inspired by his personal involvement that opposed the practice of witchcraft and that provided background material for Shakespeare's Macbeth. James personally supervised the torture of women accused of being witches. After 1599, his views became more skeptical. In a later letter written in England to his son Henry, James congratulates the prince on the discovery of yon little counterfeit wench. Praise God ye may be my heir in such discoveries. Most miracles nowadays prove but illusion, and ye may see by this how wary judges should be in trusting accusations. I think that he just literally just did not like women, period. I've heard that before, but I never knew that he actually participated into witch hunts and torture. So I believe it now.
So, question for you, Reggie.
Okay.
If you could live back then and your life right now, if you could choose to live back in that period where we had King James and these the people that we're reading about, and your life now, considering your history, right? Because you are a descendant of slaves,
Correct.
right, in the
Correct.
Americas. Right?
Correct.
And so, which would you choose your life now, or would you have loved to live back then?
Are you saying what I would have loved to live in those times, or are you asking me would I love to live in a time where the colonizers never came?
No, in those times, in King James's time, King
Knowing,
James.
knowing what I know now, knowing everything I
Yes,
know now,
knowing what you know now.
can I have unlimited ammo on an AK-47?
No, because
I
you wouldn't have had that. You would not.
I have to say no because that's easy pickings. Getting if you give me
Mhm,
the technology from now, just one, just one AK-47.
mhm.
Absolutely, absolutely. I sit right there in broad daylight, shoot every last one of y'all.
But Reggie, these people were systematic. The way they moved, they made friends with you. They came in like they were your friend. You
But I
didn't
know,
know.
but I know what I know now.
Then,
I know what you want. You know what I mean? And I seen what the Haitians did to you, so I know what
mm,
can happen. Do
can
you
we
know?
do the Haiti thing sometime, please?
That's what I would have did. Is what
No, I
I'm
mean,
saying.
can we talk about what Haiti did to them?
Oh yeah, yeah. All they did was fight back.
Yeah, I mean, we good to do that as a deep dive. Let's see
Hmm.
what. Yeah, because that was a real. I think for me, what's interesting is the mixture of voodoo and um, the religiosity added with the voodoo and added with everything else, and the fight in saying no. I
Hmm.
mean, it went down in history. So yeah, that'd be interesting to get into.
I really respect them. More, listen to me. They're the most honorable black people on earth. I don't care what nobody say. Straight up, I really respect those people for what they did. I would not be talking to you right now if it was not for them. Period.
Sorry, say that again.
If it was not for them and what they did, I would not be talking to you right now. They do not get enough credit for what they did.
Wait, you won't be talking to
If it
us?
was
What?
not for the Haitians, What they
Yeah.
did, I
Yes.
would not be talking to you right now
Say why? Why do you say that?
because they set the tone for everything. Also, do you know about the Louisiana Purchase?
Mm.
Okay. So with the okay, so what happened in Haiti, right? That gave them leverage for
for
France
France.
to sell
Sell
us
us
Louisiana and
Louisiana
the
and
states that it
the
did,
that it
right?
did, right?
That
So that
noise.
means
So what
so
happened
what
is a
happened
lot
is
of
a
the
lot of
slaves
the
from
slaves
Haiti
from
came here. That's a part of what I told you about emancipation. Most black people in the United States have Haitian blood in them. I would say
Okay.
probably most of them, which is kind of confusing because these Haitians are really Africans. So
Yes.
it's a little confusing. But if you trace your lineage, if you're from the United States, more than likely it's gonna come from
From
Haiti.
Haiti.
Hmm.
Okay.
Or the Dominican Republic, whichever one you want to call it, because it's the same fucking place. Bottom line,
What about the Caribbean? From the
that's in
Caribbean?
that's in the Caribbean.
Haiti.
It's in the Caribbean.
I think we should do a deep dive. I would love to.
So look, you ever heard somebody talk about people from Louisiana being Creole?
Yes, Creole
That's
people.
why,
Yes,
because they're Haitian.
Louisiana.
They're Haitian.
Mm,
That's what they are.
mm.
Guess where New Orleans is at? In Louisiana.
New- Yeah, I know New Orleans. New Orleans.
It's in
Yeah, that's where
Louisiana
you have. That's where you have most of the Creole people.
because they're Haitians.
They cook a lot of food from the Creole people, what they eat, and okra and the what do you call it? Is it the boil? What do you call that boil? There's this uh,
Seafood boil.
eh?
Seafood boil.
Sorry, I can't hear you. So something
Yes.
wrong with your mic today.
Seafood boil.
Seafood boil.
Oh, seafood boils, yeah. So the way they did it was is because the thing about them is they have no fear of death. The only way that you can make a person a slave is if that person is scared that you're gonna kill him. If you have no fear of death, I don't give a fuck what you do. I'm not doing shit that you say. So what they did was every time they seen one of them come, they killed them with no guns.
So
Against
whether you're friend, foe, whatever, they see
if
you,
you
just
ain't black,
take you
you was
out
gone. You was gone. They didn't give
down.
a fuck who you was. If you came to this island and you didn't look like them, you was gone.
Gone.
And that's what they did.
Wow.
Sometimes that's the stance you got to take with people.
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
like I said, if back in those days, if you would have gave me an AK-47 unlimited ammo, oh yeah, send me. But without it,
You,
I'm just
you
sitting up.
know, so my deconstruction process, a lot of my fears, a lot of the things that the struggles that I had was the fear of God, what He would do to me, and
Hmm.
what He wouldn't do, and all these things. So it was in stages. When I took down that fear of the God, right? Took down that. The very last stage of my deconstructing was the fear of hell. I had a real, very active fear of going to hell from a very young age because of how the indoctrination was done. Being taught about this place and what will happen to you if you. And so when I was able to deconstruct hell, as soon as that happened, and I had no fear of the God and no fear of the hell, it was done. It was over. The
Hmm.
God thing, just no. And for me, it is. I see people saying I was an atheist, now I'm a Christian. I was an atheist, now I'm a Muslim. I don't know how that happens. I
Me
don't
neither.
know.
Me
I
neither.
don't know because it could never be a choice. And I have actually said this. I've made an open declaration on my YouTube channel. Um, I don't think I've ever said it on TikTok, but on my, are you awake now? Huh? Okay, right. You guys start going. So on my YouTube channel, I've made this open declaration. I've said that if I ever come, and I'm saying this again, if I ever come online and you hear me say I'm a Christian, or I'm considering Islam or considering any, just know that something has gone wrong up here. No, I'm dead serious.
Oh no.
If if ever that happened, no, and this is a I'm saying this because look, because you never know. You just never know. You get to an age where you start going senile,
Mhm.
and some people now start, thinking, okay, let's act on my behalf. And I'm saying this in case anybody wants to act in my best interest. I do not. I do not. Uh, um, give anyone permission to have me serve or worship a God. I don't want a God in my life, not now, not ever, not even in my death. And also, my niece is listening to me. Hello, can you leave? I'm going now. So, as I was saying, n- um, it is a declaration that I'm making that it would never be an option. It would never, religion will never be an option. And when I finally deconstructed it, oh my goodness, it was a total annihilation. Total annihilation. It was done.
You know what I think? And I tell people this all the time. When I die, I swear y'all motherfuckers better not have no goddamn preacher at my fucking funeral lying to y'all. You better not do it. You better not do it. And especially if the money coming out of my pocket, I don't care if I'm dead or not. Don't give him shit. Fuck him. Fuck him. I'm dead. I don't care what happens. I don't care if you respect me and have a big luxurious show. I'm not there. You having a party and you're not fucking inviting me. Fuck y'all. Listen, burn my ass and throw me somewhere. I'm done. I don't care. The only thing I do care about is you bet not have no pimp with no fucking perm, slick back collecting his money. Fuck him. That's my one wish.
Also, I know you can preside over weddings. What about funerals?
Say that
Sorry,
again.
say that again.
I know you can like marry people. What about funerals? Are you allowed to do that? Is your
I,
license?
I right now I can't.
Okay.
Right now I can't because hold on, let me mute. Wait, Vessel, can you mute? I don't know what's up with Vessel's mic today. So, that's an interesting question you would ask me. It cost me money to be a wedding celebrant. It wasn't cheap, right? And the money that I spent, I haven't recovered that money back yet because for some reason, okay, this is a conversation I need to get into later on. It's about marketing, it's about there's all these things, putting yourself out there, right? Look, these are my services. I marry people who are not religious. It's about putting it out there. Um, and of course, I've been studying, so I've not really had the time to go ahead and do that. Now, it takes just it's a 3-month course, just 3 months. I would need to pay another lots of money just to go and be a funeral, to just add on top of what I've got already. But yeah, the possibility is it's there, but it's just the money. It's not cheap money. It's heavy, and so. But that's something I would love to do. Both funerals, funerals, weddings, and just everything. A friend of mine died recently, right? Well, an online friend who was not religious at all, a Nigerian doctor, and at his funeral I couldn't attend, so I was watching it on Zoom. It was a non-religious celebrant. It was beautiful. It was beautiful just to see that there was no God. Can you imagine? I'm sitting here and watching my car being taken out. These kids, where are you guys? They didn't even ask me. Man, never mind, people.
That's what you get for being on a computer, ignoring them. Ah, I know you ain't got much time left on here, so I ain't gonna be on here long. I'm only gonna talk about the Spanish match. Another potential source of income was the prospect of a Spanish dowry from a marriage between Charles, Prince of Wales, and Infanta Maria Anna of Spain. The policy of the Spanish match, as it was called, was also attractive to James as a way to maintain peace with Spain and avoid additional cost of a war. Peace could be maintained as effectively by keeping the negotiations alive by consummating the match, which may explain why James protracted the negotiate procrastinated protracted the negotiations for almost a decade. The policy was supported by the Howards and other Catholic learning ministers and diplomats, together known as the Spanish Party, but deeply distrusted in Protestant England. When Walter Raleigh was released from imprisonment in 1616, he embarked on a hunt for gold in South America with strict instructions from James not to engage the Spanish. Raleigh's expedition was a disastrous failure, and his son Walter was killed fighting the Spanish. On Raleigh's return to England, James had him executed to the indignation of the public who opposed the appeasement of Spain. James' policy was further jeopardized by the outbreak of the 30 Years' War, especially after his Protestant son-in-law Frederick Elector Palatine was ousted from Bohemia by the Catholic Emperor Ferdinand II in 1620, and Spanish troops simultaneously invaded Frederick's Rhineland home territory. Matters came to a head when James finally called a Parliament in 1621 to fund a military expedition in support of his son in law. The Commons, on the one hand, granted subsidies inadequate to finance serious military operations in aid of Frederick, and on the other, remembering the profits gained under Elizabeth by naval attacks on Spanish gold shipments, called for a war directly against Spain. In November 1621, roused by Edward Coke, they framed a petition asking not only for war with Spain, but also for Prince Charles to marry a Protestant and for enforcement of the anti-Catholic laws. James flatly told them not to intervene in matters of royal prerogative or they would risk punishment, which provoked them into issuing a statement protesting their rights, including freedom of speech, urged on by George Villiers, Duke of Buckingham, and the Spanish ambassador Diego Sarmiento de Acuna, Count of Gondomar. James ripped the protest out of the record book and dissolved the parliament. In early 1623, Prince Charles, now 22, and Buckingham decided to seize the initiative and travel to Spain incognito to win Infanta Maria Anna directly, but the mission proved an ineffectual mistake. Marie Anna detested Charles, and the Spanish confronted them with terms that included the repeal of anti Catholic legislation by Parliament. Though a treaty was signed, Charles and Buckingham returned to England in October without the Infanta and immediately renounced the treaty, much of the delight of the British people. Disillusioned by the visit to Spain, Charles and Buckingham now turned James' Spanish policy upon its head and called for a French match and a war against the Habsburg Empire. To raise the necessary finance, they prevailed upon James to call another parliament, which met in February 1624. For once, the outpouring of anti Catholic sentiment in the Commons was echoed in the court, where controlled a policy was shifting from James to Charles and Buckingham, who pressured the king to declare war and engineered the impeachment of Lord Treasurer Lionel Cranfield, by now made Earl of Middlesex, when he opposed the plan on grounds of cost. The outcome of the Parliament in 1624 was ambiguous. James still refused to declare or fund a war, but Charles believed the Commons had committed themselves to finance a war against Spain, a stance that was to contribute to his problems with Parliament in his own reign. Seems like to me that he just was running around starting shit for no reason.
I mean, if you were a king like he was, and you say to people move and they move, you say go, they go. Of course you'll be starting shit, because guess what? The chances are you'll not be the one fighting. Uh he'll be in the boardroom drawing up all the plans, but other people, they'll be the ones going to go and fight.
While he playing with them boys.
Mm, 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 mm,
Uh,
mm, 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 mm.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he was too nice of a guy. That King James. I'm surprised there's not more British history about him. It
There
seems like
probably is. There probably is. Just we don't have access to it. And yeah, I bet if we did a lot of if we did more digging, might find some. But
definitely.
what I don't understand is how did the King James Bible become the approved uh so-called word of God? You hear Christians saying if it's not the King James, then nothing at all. If it's not that, and uh, Reggie, have you read the King James version?
It don't make sense. The words that they
Have
say
you
are
read
don't make
it?
no. Yes, it doesn't make sense. It's one of the.
Thee
It's
and
the
thou,
worst.
and
Listen.
you know,
Yes.
Reggie, the King James version actually um was changed the language, right? That Bible actually was instrumental in the use of how people spoke
hmm
English.
It said that when I was reading earlier. It said that pretty much it kind of shifted the way English is spoken, even to this day.
Imagine that crap of a book. Oh my goodness. But it's amazing how we have evolved, though. It's amazing how we have evolved from these books. There was a time when people didn't have access to these Bibles. They depended on the preacher and the clerics to read to them from these books, right?
hmm
So they didn't have access, unlike now, where we can, okay, what did the Greek say? What did the NIV say? What did we listen, now it's so much better. We can cross-reference. And because we are able to cross-reference, we start to realize this is some bullshit. This
What
is
I
some
think,
bullshit.
what I think is the reason why people go towards that one is because a lot of people that are Christians, they try to disassociate themselves with the Roman Catholic Church. The Romans did this, the Romans did that.
Right,
And I'm
right.
pretty sure that's not the Bible they read from, if they read the Bible, because Catholics are notorious for just letting the priest read it to them or whatever. So I think that it's kind of more of a Protestant thing more than anything. That's what I think. I'm not sure, but that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, and I think because the Protestants the Protestants were the ones that colonized our part of the world, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's why, okay, I guess
And
I
they're
see.
using that King James version.
Mm.
Now with us over here, it's a little tricky because we're under the impression, which ain't true. Over here, we're under the impression that British people brought us here. It's not true. It's not true.
Who did? Who did? The
The,
Portuguese.
the Portuguese and the Spanish brought us here. Yes.
Right.
The English were the
Mm.
last people to catch on to game. They didn't catch
Yeah,
on. They didn't
yeah.
catch on to the shit till the 16 and 1700s. What they did was steal from the French,
That's what
the
they always do. They
Spanish,
come in,
and the Portuguese.
and they want to be clever. Reggie, I've got a photo here. I wish you could see this photo, but it's this book I'm reading, right?
hmm
And the picture of, unfortunately, you won't be able to put it on, but I could take a picture and send it to you. So it talks about the European exploitation of black people, right? And the image shows two different there's four people altogether, and two sets of people. The Dutch, it's a Dutch cartoon of 1987, a savage Dutch cartoon of 1897. The French corrupted the natives with useless frivolities. So you see this lady with her socks and her what do you call that, corset? Her corset, her socks all the way to her knees, a hat, right? Well, she's black, but you can see that she's dressed. Her boobies are out, but she's got a corset on, and the man is taking he's holding the picture, holding a a mirror in front of her, just trying to show her how beautiful she is while exploiting her. Right, so she's been exploited by useless frivolities. The English, on the other hand, they were greater hypocrites. They sold rum and rifles with the Bible. They were selling rum and rifle to the natives with the Bible. The pictures, I wish I could show you how it is depicted here, but what an interesting picture.
That's another thing too. We don't really know a lot about over here. The Dutch's influence on slavery because
Mm,
they didn't really hit here too much. Now they did in the Caribbean. There are some islands in the Caribbean where they speak Dutch. So, but not so many. Like now that I hear that I'm learning about the Dutch's role in colonization in South Africa,
hmm
it's surprising because we're under the impression that it's all England. It's all England. That's what we think. But when you dig deep into it, England's the last one to jump on. They just seen what everybody else did and said, you know what? I'm gonna steal that shit from you. Let me get that. Let me get that. That's all they. I mean, I'm not trying to dismiss it or minimize it. Fuck the shit, but
It's like what you were saying about Louisiana.
ah,
I'm saying it's like what you were saying about Louisiana
hmm
because they divided the countries amongst themselves,
hmm
but then because of France's loss, they lost a lot of people, soldiers, and that what was happening in Haiti. They
hmm
decided to pull out and sell their share of Louisiana and something else, I think, and another area for was it $15 million?
something like that.
Yeah. And like this is not your land. You just came, divided it amongst yourselves, declared it yours. You didn't pay a penny for it, but now you're selling it to other people for millions.
And guess what else? The Haitians and the Jamaicans owe the colonizers reparations. That's why they're some of the poorest nations in the world. So what I'm saying to you is they're still in the hole because they're still paying France back because after they whooped France ass, France came back with Napoleon and made him sign the treaty under duress, and they owe them money.
Gosh.
The same thing's happening in West Africa, not the French speaking West Africa. All those countries,
Congo. Congo and
Congo, Niger, what's it,
Niger.
Bison, however the hell you pronounce it, they have what's the money that France used to have? What's the name of their old currency they don't use no more? Yeah, they got them using franc, and they don't
France.
even use yes, and France doesn't even use it itself.
Because
Uh, what's,
England is
can
owned
I
by
ask? Hold on, hold on. Is your microphone?
I really don't know. I don't know.
Are you using an old phone or what?
Actually,
Huh?
it's the new phone. Actually,
Hmm.
I don't know what's up with it.
I don't know.
What does it sound like?
Like
You know
when you
what?
say a few words,
Let
it's
me let me
cool.
let me let me go out and come back, and it might just be an interference. I don't know.
What did you say, Reggie?
No, it's definitely what it sounds like you first few words you say is cool, then it's an echo of everything you're saying, and I hear a in the background.
Okay, let's see. I don't know. Might be better. Best still the same.
It's not.
Just
The,
blow. So maybe something's wrong in there.
Still the same.
it's okay because the pod is almost over anyway. So. But yeah, what was we saying though before you logged out?
We're talking about France and talking about
Oh yeah, yeah,
um
yeah.
franc, the French currency.
Yes, France doesn't have any natural resources. They don't have shit. The only thing they got is what they done stole from Africans and Caribbeans. That's all they got. Their whole everything about their country. They get their electricity from Africa. They get everything. They get everything from people that they colonize.
Mm.
I don't respect France in any way with their funky asses. Every last one of them stink to me too.
Reggie.
They do.
But you don't say things
They
like that
do.
on
They
a
don't
public.
wear.
I get
Listen.
it. I get. Listen, you can feel however you want, but listen, when you're on a platform like this, because we have these conversations, we could have French people here, Reggie. Come
Listen.
on.
French people naturally do not stink. It's their preference about deodorant. That's what it is. Haitians smell the same exact way.
Wait, they don't. What do you mean the preference about deodorant?
Have you ever been to France before? You ever been around
No, I
French people?
haven't been to France.
You've never
No,
been around a bunch of French people.
no.
They don't wear the same kind of deodorant you wear. They stink. That's a
Stink as
fact.
in they wear a different kind of deodorant.
Yes, they stink. Listen. They stink. They stink, and it's not just. It's not even just people from France. It's black French people too. They stink, and the
What's
reason why is because they don't wear the same kind of deodorant that you wear.
what they wear a different kind.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what makes that
Uh,
stink then? What's
it don't
stinky about that?
it don't work. It don't
Ugh,
work. I don't know what it is. I
Reggie,
don't know. Listen, I don't know what it is
Reggie.
with their culture. Cause like, okay, some people from India are like that too.
Yes, but it's these umbrella statements that you say, "Oh, French people." No, 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 I would disagree with you.
I've
Can't be
never,
all of them. No.
I've never met a French person. I've never met a French person who wears the same kind of deodorant as me. I've never. That's what
How
I've
would
seen.
they wear the same? That's you. Okay, now
Hold
you're
on,
acting like the Muslims
hold
and
on,
the Christians now,
hold on. I'm about
because
to show
now
you. I'm
you're
about to
saying,
show you.
yeah, yeah. Now you're saying the one what you wear is now somehow the good one, Reggie.
I don't smell it.
This is the entitlement we're talking about here.
No, I ain't entitled. They got the same kind of money as I do. But I'm saying it's their
I get
personal
it,
preference.
but what
They
makes you
don't.
think yours is better?
This is what I'm saying.
That theirs might even be more
Listen.
expensive
It
and
don't
more
matter. It don't work. It don't
exotic
work.
and
It don't.
Reggie.
I don't care how much you pay
You
for it. It
can't.
don't work. It don't work. They stink. It's not their body. It's their products that they're using or lack thereof. Hold on, I'm about to show you.
Oh goodness. I wonder what Vessel thinks about this.
Well, also it's
I'm
showing
gonna.
that a big population of them don't wear it at all. But go ahead.
I'm with Echo on this one.
I've never met a
Yes,
person from the listen.
yes.
I've never met a person that speaks French that does not smell. I've never met one. I don't care if
Okay,
they're
okay.
black,
Show us,
white.
show us what you want to show us, Reggie. Come on.
Okay.
He's never met anyone that doesn't, but you've not met them all.
No, I haven't met them all, of course. But
Exactly. The ones you've met. And Reggie could just be that it might be something to do with your nose, maybe.
I think it's a cultural thing. I don't listen. I don't think it's a personal issue with them. I think it's a cultural thing. Like I could say the same thing about it's. There's a particular um, ethnic group from India. Not all of them, because they have different religions in India, right? There's a particular one. Don't quote me on which one it is, but I'm telling you, they have stores here, right? The second you open the door, and the thing about it is I know some people who are related to them, and what they think in their mind is that you stink. That's what they
Mm,
think. They prefer a natural smell.
right.
Look, you see people telling you I'm not lying. Look, they're telling you I'm not lying, even though that's not proof, but it's true. I've even seen videos of people that have moved to France, and they're telling you before you get here, make sure you bring your own deodorant with you because they don't sell it at the store. So it's something to
Really?
do. It's something to do with their culture. I don't know what it is, but them motherfuckers stink. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care.
Reggie.
I don't care.
Reggie.
I don't care. Them motherfuckers stink.
Reggie. Reggie,
So
listen. Now they won't let you in France.
I
Now
don't
they
mind.
won't let you in there. You're like, look at him. He said this about us. Me,
I'm gonna
I'm
show you
trying
where.
to go to France. Hello.
I'm gonna show you what they can't get. I can't
Me,
get in
I'm
France, and
trying
this
to
is
go
what
to
you can't get.
France. Now they're not gonna let you. They're gonna let me and a vessel in. But you, they're not gonna
They're
let
not
you
gonna
in.
let you in.
The most expensive perfume is from France.
I can't get in France, and you can't get none of this.
Where's
Let
that?
me see.
Let's see.
It's the green deodorant. I don't know about the Jamaicans having a smell bathing. When I went to Jamaica, I didn't smell anybody, and it was hot as a motherfucker down there, and I didn't smell anybody. No, I was surprised. I thought people would be because again in the United States you have bullshit that comes on TV. They give what's the right word? Propaganda. They make it seem like everybody in the world is poor but us. Everybody got guns and will kill people but us. And really, it's us. So I was surprised with that. I was very surprised with that. There, I didn't smell no human being while I was down there. Not one.
But Maiden says Jamaicans have a particular smell also.
I don't agree.
What?
I
Okay,
don't.
what about Africans, Reggie? Africans?
French speaking Africans, them motherfuckers stink. Them motherfuckers stink. Listen, I was up in Akron about maybe about a year ago. I had bought a car from one of my good friends, right? So I had to go up there and get the title. It's a weird story. I had to catch the bus, and I was on the bus with this lady that was from Nigeria and her kids. Out in Akron, they have other forms of Africans too that are not French speaking Africans.
Okay.
Perfectly normal.
So what happened to the Nigerian woman?
They speak English. It's something about the French culture. I don't
Wait, so
know
were
what
they did
it
they
is.
smell okay? Did they smell okay?
Who?
The woman and her kids.
No, she spoke French. She was from Nigeria. She fucking stank. She smelled like a whole bunch of armpits. It's
Wait,
something
she
about
she
their
she
culture. It's
spoke
not her.
French?
Yes,
She
yes,
was from Niger. Niger. You said Niger. So it's
yeah, but
Niger.
it's
Oh,
my accent.
Niger.
Yeah,
Niger.
but I thought that you meant Nigeria.
Niger, French Nigeria. That's what I call it. I know it's no such thing, but I know it's the neighboring country,
Have you
and they
ever
speak
tried
French.
Nigeria?
French Nigerian.
No, Nigeria.
Niger.
Yeah.
Niger, yes. Niger is a French speaking country.
That's what I'm saying. She was from
Okay.
Niger. What I'm
Okay.
saying to
Okay.
you is
Okay.
there's something about French culture. It has nothing to do with your skin tone. You could be whatever you want. Just for some reason, people that speak that language, ooh la wee wee, them motherfuckers stink. I don't care what nobody say. They do. They do.
Okay. You know what I think it might be? I know that some of them use some old OUDs. OUD, the old sort of they're not perfumes. There's some body thingy, and those things smell. I do not like oud at all. Um anything that comes from the Arabian countries, I do not like the smell of. The
So
smell of any oud, the oud. My sister bought me this really big oud. I've never touched it one day. Mm-mm.
Can I have it? Can I have it after?
You can have it. Yes,
Thank I
use
love
it.
it.
so what I think it is, it's like, okay, so here in the United States, there's certain deodorants that if I buy and wear, they not gonna work. It's not gonna do shit. I think it's just the particular products that they sell in their country. I don't really think it can't be them. It can't be them because, like I said, some are white, some are black, and they smell the same. So
I agree with you on that, Reggie. Because there's some natural deodorants that they're selling now. They're not very effective. What they don't tell people is that after 4 or 5 hours, wipe your armpits and reapply it. So people are putting it on in the morning and expecting it to last all day, like a normal deodorant that's got all the chemicals, but that doesn't work.
right. I think with the Indians, I think it's religious reasons. I think in some Muslims too, they don't wear because it's something that's in the products I've used. Don't give me the line. I don't know what it is, but it's something about the product that's something that they don't want in their body.
Would it be like burning of the incense and also the food? Because the food's got quite a lot of curry
Spice.
and spices and garlic and ginger,
Yes,
so it comes out of the pores as well.
yes, I agree.
Mm,
Especially that damn what's that one season they use? What's that shit called?
garlic.
It is garlic, but it has a name. Curry.
Oh, the curry. Okay.
Yes, Indian curry is stronger than Jamaican curry. It's like to me, Jamaican curry is like watered down compared to
Mm,
that shit.
mm, mm, mm. Mm. Right. Indian curry. I'm not a huge fan of Indian food.
I don't.
It's too much for my palate. It's too much going on. When I eat it, I have to pause and think, what is this? What is this seasoning? It's too much going on in my mouth.
It's too strong. It's too much. Like that curry is too much. I had a hotel, an extended stay hotel one time, and some of my neighbors, they ate a lot of curry. Listen, even the days they didn't eat it, the whole hotel smelled just like I don't think it's nasty. I just don't personally want to smell like that. Like I love chicken, because I don't eat mammal products, right? But if I know you just cooked some chicken in your house, I'm not going in there. I'm not.
So
I
wait,
don't
if someone just cooked chicken, you're not going.
no, because I don't want to smell like KFC. You know that shit sticks to your clothes. I mean, if I was
I'm
coming over
just,
for
I'm
dinner,
just, I'm just, I'm just about to go cook some chicken. My
no, no,
God.
no.
And you
This is what
would
I'm saying.
say that just, I'm saying, I was just sitting here thinking, okay, I've got to go put that chicken in. And immediately you talked about chicken. So, Reggie, I'm not inviting you over. No. Mm-mm.
As long as I don't got
You
nothing
are
to go.
not getting an invite.
Listen, this is what I'm saying. If you invite me over, right, and you about to cook some chicken, if I got something else to do after that, I'm not going. If it's the end of the day, perfectly fine. That's fine. But the smell of that shit just sticks in your clothes. And then people here are very fucking racist. You chicken eating nigga. Nah. Nah.
What? What
Yes.
do you mean? What do you mean you chicken?
That shit they say. They say we like
What
chicken
is
like a
wrong
motherfucker.
with eating chicken?
They say black people, that's all you eat. They say all you eat is chicken and fucking watermelon. That's what they say.
It's the same over here. Chicken, fried chicken.
Yes. And I mean, that's not the only reason. I just don't want my clothes smelling like that shit. Okay, person cooking fish, I don't want my clothes smelling like that. Person cooking garlic in the house, I don't want my clothes smelling like that. It sticks to you. Shit. I don't want everybody knowing what I done ate all day long. Like, you know my whole business. I don't even know you. You just know I done had chicken, cornbread. You know all that shit. I ain't even tell you.
Cornbread is something I don't know what cornbread is. I've never had
Understood.
cornbread.
What?
What is cornbread? Interesting. I
What?
want to know what cornbread is.
Cornbread is yum.
Is
It's
what?
yum. Yum.
Is yam?
No, she says it's good.
Is what?
Yummy. Good.
What's it made of?
Corn.
It's made of corn
Hmm.
and it's a bread.
It looks like cake.
How do
It
you
look
cook that?
in the oven.
Do you, anyway, I'll check out the recipe. Hold on. Where's my phone? Check out the
You can make
recipe
it
for
yourself.
cornbread.
You'll definitely like it.
My son loves corn, so you might like it.
It's what we technically call soul food here.
Mm?
It's what we technically call soul food here.
Okay. Cornbread recipe. Uh-huh. Oh. So what do you eat it with? What do you eat cornbread with?
Sunday dinner, greens, chicken, cabbage.
Mm. Oh wow.
Even with Yorkshire pudding, they have cornbread.
It's good for dipping too. So what y'all got going on for the rest of the day? Well, I know, but say it.
So so later on, right now I'm going to sort the kids out. So, well, they're not kids as such, but sort them out so I can. So come 8 p.m. we will be hosting Godless Dating. I can't stream it onto YouTube unless Reggie's kind enough to stream it onto YouTube. So, to put it's about people who don't believe in God, right? Meeting each other and hopefully, bonds start to form and people. I mean, it's not. No one's obligated to It's not compulsory, but I find some people saying, "Oh, I wish I was with someone who didn't believe in God," and so this is the opportunity to do something like that. It's going to be streamed on TikTok, but might be streamed on YouTube. We'll figure something out. So yes, that's what I'm doing later on.
Okay. Definitely check that out. If you're not a follower, definitely follow the Afro Atheist. What you got going on, Vessa?
Oh, she's my
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 Yeah,
my
co-host.
co-host.
I'm here to offer my support.
Well, she's
Well,
my
she's my
co-host,
co-host,
but
but
also
also we're looking for
looking
we're looking.
for
Go ahead.
a date for her too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Vessel coming out her shell, huh? Okay, I like that.
Mhm.
Ah, the anonymous vessel of dishonor. Come out your shell.
She's already out of the shell.
Know what I'm saying? She'll never show her face or no shit like that.
This is, I might as well wear a hijab, to be honest.
You know,
I think I'll get one. You know what? I'll get one and I'll wear one.
Reggie,
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 Reggie.
cornbread, is it sweet or no?
Yes. Yes.
It's sweet.
Yes. Not like sweet, sweet. It's not like sugary sweet, but it has a sweet taste to it. You'll definitely like it. It's an
Is it
experience that I feel that as an African, you definitely need to have. Hmm.
would you consider it healthy food or no?
Nah, probably not.
No, okay.
No, okay.
Make it with sweet corn.
What you say, Vessel?
She can make it with sweet corn.
That's true.
Ah, how can you do it with sweet corn? How do you do that?
Just follow the same recipe.
No, but
No, but everything what I've seen so far is all dry.
dry products.
Yeah, you get the kernels of the sweet corn. They're supposed
Hmm.
to go with that's how it becomes cornbread. It's
They do
supposed to
what?
Did you
be
want so the kernels do what?
you take them off the cob and you incorporate them into the bread mixture.
Do
Right,
you
Do
Reggie?
blend
you
them?
blend them?
Yeah, you can blend them because the one I've had had bits of corn. You could actually see the bits of the corn in it.
Mm.
Yeah, that's homemade. A lot of times, what people eat is what we call hot water cornbread. That's some ghetto shit right there. A lot of people make it out of a box from this brand that's called Jiffy.
Right.
You'll like it for sure.
I'm gonna give it a try. It
Okay.
looks like cake.
Yeah, it looks just like cake. It looks like pound cake. It's yellow.
Just like cake.
I think it's really made from cornmeal. Well, yeah, that's what it got to be. I don't know. It's good. Um, I'll definitely be back next week around this time with Faith, Lies, and Religion. I don't know what the show
What
title
are
is going to
you
be.
what are you doing afterwards? You didn't tell us what you're doing later on.
I'll probably go live on TikTok at some point later on today. I'm definitely going to come on your show. Uh, check it out.
Hey, are you looking for a date?
You know,
Oh, oh
so I'll
no.
definitely come by to support, check you out.
Because a few people have their eyes on you, Reggie. No, seriously. I've had people say, can you, what's up with Reggie?
I'm not going
I'm
to
not gonna
come on your
come
show
on
and
your
show
show
your
and
face.
stuff like that.
I'm going to pull
I'm
you
gonna
out
Sorry,
pull
of
it
your
out.
Reggie,
shit
I
just like
didn't
this.
hear you. I didn't hear you.
I said I'm gonna come on your show, but I'm not gonna show your face, my face. I'm gonna do the vessel. I'm gonna be on there just like this.
It's your hijab. Okay. All right, Reggie.
Listen, I'm getting one. I'm going to order one tonight. If I don't get it off Amazon, I'm getting it on eBay.
What are you getting?
A hijab.
Good job.
Just wear some glasses or something. Put a wig on, some glasses. Nobody will know.
Anyways,
hijab and I wear sunglasses on top.
And that, you got to let a person know what they getting themselves into, Vessel.
No, it's more than looks. Looks are secondary.
Listen,
This is
listen.
lovely for who I am.
I get that. I get your point. But do you want to wake up to Flavor Flav? No, you don't. No, you don't.
hey, what
Reggie,
did
I
you say?
said
Flavor
Flavor
Flav?
Flav. I
Yes.
don't know.
No, no, no. I'm not. Listen, I'm not. I'm not saying that you're a Flavor Flav, obviously. But this is what I'm saying to you. You don't want to meet a guy, right? Well, and never know what he looks like. Then all of a sudden he just pop up to your crib. Flavor Flav. You're gonna be like, bruh. Like you know how they got those dating shows with the balloons? You're gonna be like, pop. You gotta let it know. Let a guy know.
Let a guy know where you get.
Why you looking like that, Afro?
I was looking at something.
I was about to say, what y'all got? What y'all interested in Flavor Flav?
No thanks. No, I'm not interested in Flavor Flav.
Let's
No.
leave now.
No, but you know, he's a really nice guy. He paid accommodation and transport and everything for a lot of the athletes, the Olympic athletes that were
Oh,
stranded. Flavor Flav.
I respect
I
that.
mm,
respect that.
He's
He's
also
also
helping. What's the name of that restaurant? Not Long John. Red Lobster. Stay afloat because Red Lobster ever since the pandemic is pretty much almost out of business. So he's
mm.
helping promote it to get it back going. I mean, I personally like him. He's just an ugly motherfucker. Shit.
He's very ugly.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one show he was doing one time, it was years ago, where there were all these girls. Oof. Mm-mm-mm. Do you remember that show?
Yeah, the flavor of love.
Yeah, they're turning themselves and then fighting.
Tiffany. I remember Tiffany from that show.
New York, New York. That's what you talking about? With that botch surgery. New York, New York. My favorite was Hoops or
Oh,
Del-
Hoops. I remember Hoops.
and Delicious. Those my favorites for
Oh,
sure.
delicious. Yeah, I remember those.
I really love Delicious. She didn't fuck
Mm.
herself up though now, but
What's up with her?
she's one of those people that just can't take the fact that she's getting older. So she done went out here and bought some botched surgery, face all hanging down, booty all lopsided now. Such a waste.
Oh, that's a shame.
Could have just aged gracefully. We liked her the way she was.
Mm.
But yeah, I'll probably be back Wednesday with AAA Sports. Um, I'll definitely be back here next week. I need to do my other show. I haven't done it in a while. Product of the '80s podcast, where I talk about politics and trending topics and things like that. I haven't done it probably in about a month or two. So check me out on that. Within the next 2 weeks, I should do it. Um, thank
Do
everybody
you do you do it? Do you do it by yourself or with others?
with Jamar.
With Jamal. Okay, right, right, right.
But anybody can come on though. We actually encourage more people to come because when you talk about like trending topics and popular things like that, it's best to have different people's point of view because everyone
Okay.
sees things differently.
Mm. But the thing is, your timing, our timing.
Yes, it's very different.
When you're streaming, we're in bed.
hmm Yeah. What time is it now? Like seven something there, or six?
Oh goodness, yeah, almost 6:30.
Okay. Well, thank all y'all for coming. I want to thank Vessel for coming. I want to thank you for coming.
Coming.
Thank you for
Shout out
Shout
to
out to
everybody I know. Shout out to my brothers and sisters. Shout out to everybody on TikTok. Follow me on there. Follow me on here at Godless Reggie. Follow the Afro Atheist and follow Vessel of Dishonor. Y'all got any shout outs before I let everybody go?
Oh, shout out. Today my mother would have been 76. Her
Happy.
birthday was the 1st of September, and yeah, it was a scramble between us who would be the first one to wish her happy birthday. And every 1st of September, it doesn't get easier. Just knowing that she's no longer here, but um, yeah, I know where she is. I know where she's resting, and yeah, shout outs to her. Without her, there'll be no me. So
All right. Shout out to mom. What
Mm.
about you guys?
Shout out to Azo's mom. Shout out to everyone who's tuning in and watching.
Okay. Thank all y'all for coming out. Thank you to Juad White. Thank you to Maidens. Uh Jerwalk, I
I
know
think
you're
there
here
was
somewhere.
Amy Anderson.
Yeah, isn't that Ambrosia?
Is that Ambrosia?
I think so. I think
Is
Amy is
Amy
Ambrosia.
Anderson Ambrosia?
I think so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Thank you, Maidens. Thank you, Deanma.
Yeah, walk.
Yeah, Gerwalk, definitely. Thank you for Pandemus, the Pan African.
Hey,
And I'm
Pandemus.
about to let everybody go.
Dima as well. Dima, hey Dima, and Dean Kruger.
Yep, and Dean. Thank all y'all. Good night.
Okay.